All right, finally, after months and even years of collecting parts and keeping some in storage, I'm finally gonna get around to installing my somewhat budget suspension upgrade. I say somewhat just because, I mean, it wasn't super cheap, but it was cheaper than just buying it all from one place. I kind of pieced this together based on price. And just like most Corolla owners, I'm cheap and I like to do it myself. So this is the setup I'll be doing. I've owned the Corolla for about 15 years, and about 10 years ago, I made my own homemade front coilover setup. Like it was some like eBay special setup, and it has to go. I need to freshen that up, so this is what I'm going to be installing in the next couple days if the rain lets off. So you can see here I have Megan rear sway bar links, outer tie rods, tension rods, T3 Weld-on coilover kit with the tube spacers because I didn't want to hack up my strut tubes back then, and I still don't, just in case I change my mind down the road. And those are T3 front lower control arms. I believe I've had those in storage for a while, and I think those are like the much older version than what I got out now. Then rear Camaro adjustable shocks and front SW20 inserts, similar to what I have currently, just a more freshened up version. So yeah, I've been looking forward to this upgrade for quite a while, but even more so the fun part, which comes next, the install. All right, today's a nice, beautiful sunny day, so I'm gonna take advantage of the day and start installing my suspension upgrade. I'm gonna start with the easy stuff first, the rear shocks. So these are meant for Camaro, but they fit just fine on the Corolla in the rear. And I'm also going to install the sway bar links. The car currently has a 2-inch drop TRD springs and Tanabe sway bars in front and rear, and I think just a regular gas adjust Camaro shocks that I installed like a decade ago. So this is going to be a nice upgrade. Let's get to it. Alright, let's get to it. As you can see here, I'm part way from installing the sound deadening. Just waiting on another shipment from Amazon Racing. I need like 2 more boxes. I only ordered 1 just because I was testing it out. So I'm waiting for 2 more. So we're gonna move on to just removing the old shocks. Pretty straightforward. Plus it's nice and easy. They already have the rear panels removed. Alright, now on the underside, as you can see, I already have it up in the air. So I like to jack it up from the rear diff. It just makes it easier to adjust up and down in case I need a little bit more clearance for removal of the shocks. It just makes it easier. And I'll just leave it. I'll put the jack stands underneath the stitch welds, so it just makes the job a lot easier. And I forgot to mention, as I mentioned, the Tanabe rear sway bars, and I think that's a T3 panhard rod, and also the T3 traction brackets that I installed a long time ago. And you can't see them, of course, but I also did the rear, the 4-link energy suspension bushings. I just installed the bushings. Those are the factory 4 links, but I'm gonna be upgrading to Cusco here in the near future. So yeah, let's get to it. So the top side's already removed, so these shocks are just pop out. Alright, so out with the old and in with the new. So one thing that I didn't mention earlier, or somewhat mentioned, is this is what these shocks come with. But since these shocks aren't going on a Camaro, they're actually going on a Corolla, I'm just going to end up using the factory bolt. It's going to clean up the threads, and so I won't be needing these guys. And I also am going to be installing these bushings and washers. Of course, they're for the top. And these stickers actually are meant to go on the shock themselves, but like most of you guys, I just end up sticking them up on my toolbox or refrigerator. So they're not going to go on here because really no one even sees them anyways. And I'll throw these on the top, install these, and I actually end up, I bolt them up first to the car, and then I adjust the jack to get it right at the same level, and then just plug right in. So these are also a little shorter, and they have a nice travel height for the 2-inch drop. So I've used them in the past and they work beautifully. Alright, now that the rear shocks are just hanging there, chilling, it's gonna simply, jack up the rear end, get them lined up, and throw them on. And also, it's kind of hard to see there, but the front sway bar links are way up here. So I'll be moving on to the front once I'm done with these shocks back here. So way up there. And those are pretty simple too, just pop right in as well. So this was a quick and easy job. A little bit higher. Now on this side, same thing, needs a little bit of adjustment here. So I gotta go a little lower. Actually, a little higher. Nope, lower. Not too low. think it's about there. A little more. And a little more. Slightly lower. Okay. Now the fun part is trying to find that bolt. Where'd that thing go? All right. And I have it on my lowest setting. Make sure that don't damage that bolt. It's an old car. All right, and again, just at a 5. Okay, got it set to 5. All right, so here's the sway bar link, nice and shiny, and kind of hard to see. I ended up just using the lock washer, the lock nut that came with the new sway bar link. And just went old school, no gear wrench, but it wasn't too bad. You get a decent, you get both hands in here, so not bad at all. Just would have been nice if I had a working gear wrench. Would have made it much easier. All right, so now on to the next side. So here's a better look at the Corolla. This is the ride height that I'm keeping it at. I installed the KYB shocks and the sway bar links yesterday, and this is the ride height that I've had it for the last 10, 11 years, and I think it's perfect for my use, which is just daily driving it to work and school. So the goal is to keep the ride height front and rear the same with my budget build suspension. So this is perfect for me. And another thing that I do want to mention is I have this goal where next year I lived in Japan for a few years, and I'm hoping to go back next year and buy some wheels. I actually been wanting to buy some wheels from Japan. I mean, these are the Drag DR20s, and they're fine. I've had them on there for, I think, as long as I've had the suspension on there. They're fine. They serve their purpose. They're decent looking, but I'd prefer some much better wheels. I mean, I bought these when I was younger and kind of broke. So I'm hoping to go to Japan next year. I'm planning to live there for a couple of years again, and I have this dream goal that I want to buy my own wheels. Actually, go and hand select them and ship them over. And another even bigger dream, but this probably gonna take me a little longer, is to actually buy a car from Japan and ship it over as well. So that's probably gonna take a little bit more planning, but those are some goals that I have, some things that I have in mind. And another thing too that really bugs me, that everything that is done to this car, I've done it myself. I've installed everything. All the work has been done by me in the last 15 years, on and off, because I mean, I traveled a lot and lived abroad for some years. But anyways, this here really bugs me. I did this a long time ago. These are A92 side skirts, and this is something that I want to change because it bothers me a lot. So I'm either thinking of doing both the end caps like this, so getting another one and then cutting it here and having it more uniformed, getting rid of this altogether, or going a different route. So and also some moldings. I don't have the moldings anymore. I don't know where I placed them. I had intended to do a black paint down here with the moldings, but I lost them. So I'm gonna try to scavenge and see if I can find them again, and I might do the black line. I haven't decided just yet. I wanted to do a little bit different than the Panda that everyone does. And I mean, I've had this thing painted for maybe 8 years, so the paint's still holding up pretty well. Yeah, and I just wanted to be a little bit different. I really like gunmetal, so that's the color I went with. And yeah, so down the road I'm gonna be adding the moldings, maybe do a black paint, and I'm not 100% sure about these side skirts. I might just go without side skirts altogether, but I'm gonna try to fix this, and if not, well, then I'll either no side skirts or I'll do the 892. So we'll see what happens.